There is a voice, soft, ancient, yet thunderous, calling out across dimensions. A message that travels not through wires or screens, but through the pulse of the earth, through the stillness of the stars, and through the beating heart of those who are ready to remember. If you're here listening to this transmission, it's not by accident. Something in you has always known. You've felt it in dreams, in whispers during sleepless nights, in the strange moments when the world around you felt distant, as if your soul were reaching for something beyond this reality. This message is for you, you who carry the codes of light. You who were born into this world not to follow but to illuminate. You, the ground crew, the way showers, the ones who dared to volunteer. In times of great darkness, you are the presence of the infinite Creator walking among the lost. You may not remember it fully yet, but somewhere deep inside you there's a memory older than this lifetime, older than this planet. A memory of unity, of purpose, of sacred responsibility. This is not about religion. This is not about belief. This is a call beyond words, a vibration, a frequency. And right now, it's activating within you. You were not meant to fit into this world because you came to help transform it. And no matter how strange, how heavy, how chaotic things may seem out there, know this: you are not alone. Others like you are waking up, one by one, feeling the same call, hearing the same rhythm beneath the noise. This is the moment we begin to remember. And once that remembering begins, nothing will ever be the same. You were never just a body, never just a name, a job, or a story with a beginning and an end. Long before you took your first breath here, you existed as light, as a consciousness untouched by fear, untouched by gravity, untouched by time. You are not the echo of something divine. You are divine, a living, breathing extension of the infinite source, the Creator expressing itself through billions of unique forms, and in this moment, through you. The illusion that you are small, limited, powerless, was carefully constructed, layer by layer, belief by belief, until the world forgot its origin. But forgetting is not the end of the story. For even when a flame is hidden under ash, it does not cease to burn. It waits, it pulses, and now it is ready to rise again. Every emotion you've ever felt, every pain, every joy, it has been shaping you not to break, but to expand, to grow into remembrance. You are not here by mistake. Your consciousness is not the result of random particles colliding in the dark. You are a chosen embodiment of light, assigned to this mission, on this planet, at this time. And no, you didn't come here to be perfect. You came to be present, to feel, to walk the paradox of being both eternal and fragile, to carry the light of the stars in the form of skin and breath and heartbeat. There is a sacred intelligence within you that no book can teach, a cosmic knowing that goes beyond language, beyond doctrine. It whispers when you sit still. It surges when you act from love, and it roars when you remember you were not made by the Creator. You are the Creator, experiencing itself moment by moment through your eyes. Let that truth settle in your bones. Let it rise through your spine. Let it radiate out into the field around you, because the world is hungry for that remembrance. Not in words, not in philosophy, but in presence. You don't need to convince anyone. You only need to be, fully, authentically, radically alive. And from that place, you begin to realign the grid. You start restoring the forgotten pattern of unity, not through force, but through frequency. You are not here to save the world. You are here to awaken it by remembering who you truly are. To awaken is not only to remember the light, but to recognize the shadows that have hidden it. For the past 50 years and even long before, humanity has been carefully herded, not by fate, not by accident, but by a system that feeds on your disconnection from the truth. This manipulation isn't just political, it's not just economic, it's energetic, it's vibrational, and it's ancient. There are forces, call them programs, call them entities, call them distortions, that have worked tirelessly to keep the collective asleep. They don't need to chain your body if they can chain your mind. They don't need to silence your voice if they can confuse your truth. So they built narratives, carefully engineered stories of division and fear. They gave you identities to fight over: race, religion, borders, ideology. And with each label, each separation, they pulled the fabric of humanity further apart. You were told to fear your neighbor, to mistrust those who look different, speak differently, believe differently. But the real threat has never been each other. It has always been forgetting that we are one. Look around. Look at how pain is monetized, how media broadcasts division like a sacred ritual, how fear is sold like a product, daily, hourly, designed to keep your frequency low. Because when you vibrate in fear, you are easier to control. You stop questioning. You stop seeing clearly. You forget your power. But let me remind you, you were never meant to be a pawn in someone else's game. Your soul didn't travel through galaxies to arrive here just to be manipulated by a system of illusions. No, you came to break it, to expose it, not with hate, but with awareness, with presence, with truth that doesn't scream but resonates, because truth doesn't need to fight, it simply shines. And when truth is remembered, lies collapse on their own. So as the old structures tremble, don't be afraid. Don't resist the fall of what was never real. You are not here to mourn the illusion. You are here to witness its end and plant the seeds of something eternal. One of the most sophisticated illusions ever designed is the illusion of choice. Not real, conscious choice, but manufactured opposition. False dichotomies, right or left, rich or poor, science or faith, freedom or safety. This skin or that one, this flag, that God, this history, that wound. The architects of distortion know something about the human psyche. If they can make you choose between two sides, they don't need to control the sides, only the battlefield. It is the perfect trap, because it makes you believe you're standing for something true, while unknowingly reinforcing the very system that divides. They feed you heroes and villains, but both are written into the same script. They offer you debates, but only within the limits they define, and all the while behind the noise, they harvest your energy. Not just your time, not just your money, but your attention, your emotion, your creative power. They thrive when you fight their battles. They expand when you defend their illusions, and in the process, you forget that truth is not found on one side or the other. Truth lives in the still point between. You forget that we were never meant to divide into fragments. We are the fractal, not the fracture. This is why the world feels so loud, so conflicted, so fragile. Because the system has taught us to reject the mirror, to hate what reflects our shadow, to blame what triggers our wound, to scream for change outside without transforming anything within. But here's the higher perspective. Everything they created to divide us can be used to unify. Because once you see the game, you stop playing it blindly. Once you see that the fight itself is the distraction, you reclaim your energy from it. You no longer serve the polarity. You become the bridge. And bridges don't choose sides. They connect them. They integrate them. They remind us that separation was always the illusion, not the truth. Not all that glitters is truth. Not all that speaks of love comes from the source. And in this time of mass awakening, a new kind of deception has emerged. One that doesn't scream in darkness but whispers through the light. This is the spiritual trap, the illusion of enlightenment, a sophisticated distortion designed not to keep you asleep, but to keep you comfortably distracted. You see, the moment people begin to awaken, to question, to seek, to rise, a second net is cast, one that mimics truth, but feeds the ego in disguise. It tells you that you are special, but forgets to tell you we are all divine. It teaches you to escape the world rather than transform within it. It gives you rituals, words, crystals, codes, but no real connection to your own heart. You begin to ascend intellectually, but disconnect emotionally. You speak of love, but avoid the shadows that love was meant to embrace. You begin to chase the next light transmission, the next activation, the next channeled message, and without realizing, you become a seeker of content, not a vessel of truth. This is how false light operates. It gives you a version of awakening that feels safe, feels high vibe, but never challenges the deeper layers of illusion still running your life. Because real truth, it doesn't just elevate, it liberates. It doesn't bypass the pain, it brings it into the light with compassion. It doesn't make you feel superior, it humbles you with clarity. You're not here to float above the earth like a detached observer. You're here to ground heaven into earth, to remember the sacredness of this body, this breath, this present moment, not to escape it. So if a teaching asks you to deny your humanness, question it. If a message makes you feel better than others, it is not from source. And if a voice speaks only to your mind but not to your soul, it's time to listen deeper. Discernment is the compass of awakening, not judgment, not fear, but frequency. Because your soul recognizes truth. It doesn't need to be convinced. It just needs space to remember. The path back to truth is not a journey outward. It's a returning inward. And the deeper you go, the quieter it becomes. Because pure light does not demand. It doesn't force. It doesn't compete with noise. It simply radiates. To align with that light is to remember the original frequency that brought you into form. The one beyond names, roles, timelines, and beliefs. It's not about trying to be more spiritual. It's about being more honest, more still, more you, without all the layers you were taught to wear. Pure light doesn't seek to be followed. It invites you to become sovereign, to trust the language of your own vibration, to listen with your entire being, not just to words, but to resonance, because the body knows, the heart remembers, and your soul, it never forgot. So how do you align? You simplify. You breathe deeper. You create silence within a world that thrives on noise. You choose what expands you, not what excites your ego. You observe how people, teachings, environments feel, not how they perform. Because the performance of truth is not truth. Truth simply is. You begin to live from presence, from curiosity, from the sacred now where life is not an idea but a vibration unfolding. And from this space you no longer need to convince, convert, or conquer. You just be, and in that being, you become a mirror for others to remember their own light. Not by shining brighter than, but by shining from the center of your own stillness. Because pure light doesn't speak in slogans, it speaks in frequencies. It hums through the quiet knowing that you are already connected, that there is nothing to chase, only something to uncover. So align, not by effort, but by allowing. Not by seeking something new, but by remembering what has always been. In the midst of cosmic truths, vibrational awakenings, and divine remembrance, there is something profoundly sacred about simply feeling the earth beneath your feet. Because while your soul may come from the stars, your body was born of this planet. And in every tree, every stone, every breeze, the earth calls you back home. To ground is not to lower yourself, it is to root yourself, to bring your light fully into form. We often think of enlightenment as rising above, but real mastery is also about anchoring down, feeling your connection to the land, to the pulse of the soil, to the rhythm of the seasons. Walk barefoot on the ground, sit with your back against a tree, breathe with the wind, let the rain kiss your skin, let the sunlight feed your cells, let the earth hold you, because in her embrace the noise fades, the confusion clears, and you begin to feel something ancient, something real. You remember that healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It looks like stillness. It feels like peace. The earth doesn't judge your journey. She doesn't ask you to be perfect. She asks you to be present. And when you become present with her, you begin to regulate your energy field. Your nervous system softens. Your thoughts slow down. Your aura stabilizes. You begin to remember that your body is not a burden. It is your vessel. your sacred technology, your bridge between the seen and the unseen. And in grounding, you don't lose your light. You strengthen it, because a tree that reaches the heavens can only do so if its roots run deep. So reconnect, not just with cosmic truth, but with Earth's truth. Let nature guide you back into balance. The Earth is not just your home. She is your partner in ascension. There is a moment on the path of awakening when you stop chasing light outside of you and begin calling your own energy back home. Not as a concept, but as a living act of power. Because throughout your life, through fear, programming, distraction, and unconscious agreements, you have scattered your energy across people, systems, timelines, and beliefs that were never meant to hold it. You gave away your focus, your voice, your time, your magic, and now you are being asked to reclaim it all. Reclaim the moments where you stayed silent to keep the peace. Reclaim the dreams you abandoned to fit in. Reclaim the pieces of your soul you gave to people who could not hold them. You don't need to fight to get them back. You only need to remember that they were always yours. This is not about judgment. It's about awareness. Because when you reclaim your energy, you begin to feel whole again. You begin to feel present, centered, grounded in your own frequency. You're no longer being pulled by the expectations of the world. You're no longer running from your own stillness. You're no longer outsourcing your worth or placing your value in the hands of others. And with every breath, with every act of love towards yourself, you call more of your essence back into your field. You start to glow differently, speak differently, create differently, not from the fragmented survival of the old self, but from the wholeness of the real you. This is not ego. This is embodied soul. You begin to honor your time as sacred, your boundaries as holy, your energy as a currency of the divine. And as you reclaim it, you become magnetic, not because you are trying to attract, but because you are fully inhabiting yourself. So pause, breathe, and simply say, I call all of my energy back to me across all time, all space, all dimensions, from all people, all systems, all stories. I forgive where I gave it away, and I now reclaim it in love. It is mine, and I am whole. You don't need permission to return to yourself. You only need to say yes. There comes a moment when silence becomes louder than the noise, when the stories the world told you no longer fit, no longer feel like home, no longer reflect the vastness you carry inside. And in that moment, you realize you were never broken. You were simply trapped in a narrative that was never yours. For decades, societies have been shaped not by truth, but by carefully crafted illusions. Narratives designed to divide, to distract, to keep souls asleep inside beautiful cages. You were told who you are, what to want, what to fear, who to trust, and where to look for answers. Every system designed to keep your gaze external so that you never remember the infinite world within. But the narrative is collapsing, and the moment you question it, truly question it, you become a danger to the systems that rely on your unconscious participation. Because awakened beings don't obey old scripts. They rewrite them. They dismantle the lie simply by living in truth. Breaking the narrative is not about rebellion. It's about remembrance. You are not here to fit in. You are here to see through. And as you do, you begin to recognize how deeply the programming runs. You were taught to compete instead of collaborate, to obey instead of intuit, to fear your own power, to chase approval, to mistrust your body, to silence your soul. But now, the veil is thin. The systems are glitching. And truth, raw, inconvenient, luminous truth, is rising from the cracks. You don't have to scream to break the narrative. You only have to stop believing it. Choose presence over performance, connection over consumption, depth over distraction. Start asking questions the world avoids. Who benefits from this fear? Whose voice is this in my mind? Is this my belief, or was it given to me? Because once you see the script, you're no longer acting. You're awakening. and that changes everything. When everything outside feels uncertain, there is one place that never lies. One place where the noise ends and truth begins. A sanctuary beyond words, beyond belief systems, beyond fear. Your inner compass. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. It whispers. It nudges. It remembers. It is the still voice that lives in your bones, the rhythm that beats beneath the confusion, the guiding presence that was always there, waiting for you to return. Because while the world tells you to seek outside, your soul already knows. Everything you need is within. Your clarity, your safety, your path, your divine timing, your connection to Source. It's all encoded in you. To follow the inner compass is not to escape the world, but to move through it with intention, with vision, with alignment. It is what leads you when logic fails. It is what carries you when you forget. It is what calls you home. And now, more than ever, you are being asked to trust it, to sit in silence long enough to hear it, to pause the scrolling, the noise, the seeking, and simply listen. Because no one outside you can tell you who you are. That knowing is yours to reclaim. To the starseeds who feel out of place, to the light workers who carry ancient codes, to the ones who never quite fit in. You are not broken. You are remembering. You are not lost. You are awakening. You came here with a mission, not just to shine light, but to become light in a world that has forgotten its own. And though it can feel lonely, you are never alone. The earth sees you, the stars remember you, and we, your family across dimensions, walk with you every step of the way. Hold your frequency, anchor your love, live your truth, and trust. You are the bridge, you are the code, you are the shift. Welcome home.